What is up, everybody? We are live. Sorry for the wait. Got a couple of guests, and it took a little while to get everybody situated and get everybody in. While we're waiting on more people to come in, somebody sent me this email. It was either yesterday or the day before, and it's a song. It's a fictional song, Make Believe, and it has to do with when the girl called Joseph Lowry to redress her grievances. They enjoyed it so much they made a song out of it. And like I said, this is like a video game. This is First Amendment free speech humor. Nobody should take any of the lyrics in this song seriously. But I thought it would be fun to share it with y'all while we're waiting on people to come in. Here it is.
Boy, you've been running, playing it cool. Got me waiting on your call like a fool. Joseph Lowry, don't you hide. I see them in receipt, don't even try. I hear that Delta humming. You best believe that I'm coming. I'm gonna get done humming. You best believe that I'm coming. I'm gonna get you through the phone, no matter where you try to roll. Pick it up, don't think slow. Joseph Lowry, what do you know? I ain't have to wait too long, so baby, answer when I call. I know your number, know your voice. Ain't no ghosting, not a choice. Static buzzing late at night. You can't run, you can't hide. I hear that Delta moaning. You best believe that I'm coming. I'm gonna get you through the phone, no matter where you try to roll. Pick it up, don't think slow. Joseph Lowry, boy, you know I ain't the type to wait too long. So baby, answer when I call. Tasty, you let us never. Cause my wife's going, I'll if you wait and slow. Just I know that like express. If this crisis, just to satisfy cash or style. I hope you know I just fiber. Good enough. I'm gonna hit you through the phone, no matter where you try to roll. Pick it up, don't think slow. Joseph Lowry, boy, you know I ain't have to wait too long. So baby, answer when I call. Please tell me why I'm changing up. Now, not a franchise. Joseph Lowry, don't be shy. You know you love me, don't deny. One last ring, one last chance. Pick up orders, stop this dance.
All right, that's it, man. It's not really it's not my type of music. It's not my style of music, and it was kind of weird, but I thought it was funny, man. The name of the song was called "Get You Through the Phone." All right,
Get you through the phone.
get you through the phone. All right, that's enough of that. Let's get rid of that.
What, somebody send you that?
Yeah, somebody sent it to me yesterday or the day before.
That's funny.
Definitely, I'm more of a classic rock kind of guy, alternative, but you know,
Yeah.
if somebody took the time to make it, I thought I would play it.
Yeah, man. That's awesome.
So we will get this video up. I'm sure everybody has seen that Dr. Speece was arrested the other day, and I'm going to pull that up, and we're going to let him give us an intro. That should be it right there.
All right. So this
Do you
was.
want me to back up a little bit, or is this good right here?
Oh, this is fine right here. Yeah.
Okay.
So this happened on Monday, just the other day, and it's at the Miriam, Kansas Community Center, and it's an ACLU event where they're organizing. It was called a town hall. It's like Power to People or People Power Town Hall. And it was RSVP to get into it. And it was originally scheduled to be at the Johnson County Library in Overland Park, Kansas. And they changed the venue from they reached capacity and shut down the RSVP, and then switched the venue from the library there to the community center, which is on the screen right there. And so I had RSVP'd, and I double checked with the coordinator of the event at the ACLU through email. I'd asked her, hey, is this still the same event? You guys just moved to a different location. And she said, yeah, it's the same event. We had to move because there was so much interest in it. And so, and then she sends me a link as well to some virtual town hall they're having later next week or something like that. Unsolicited, just send it to me. But anyways, so I pull up here to the Miriam Library, or the Miriam Community Center, and it shares a parking structure and property line, or property, with the library as well, the Miriam Library there. So they have parking structures, but it's completely, parking is full. So they have somebody out front directing traffic and telling people pulling in, saying, hey, the parking lot is full, but we have permission to park in overflow parking at this IKEA factory or something. It's got this huge parking garage on it. So that's where I ended up parking. And it's probably a couple minute walk as well. So you got to drive over there and then park and walk. And so I park and I walk up there, and I'm walking in the building here. And so this building right here is a public building. It's the community center. The room that the ACLU rented out is they rented it, but they opened it up to it's a public meeting. It's not a private event. It's not ACLU private event. They advertise it to the public as a public event. So it's in a public building, open to the public. I had RSVP'd. And then outside of that, you'll hear the cop try to tell me this is a private business. But even outside of any of that nonsense, the hallway that I'm standing in that I get arrested in is a hallway, but it's also a dedicated art museum dedicated to some board member or something there that did something or other. But it's a public art museum as well. So outside of any, breaking of the law, you're allowed to be in there. It's a public place. You don't have to pay for it. None of this is private, even though the cop tries to tell me that it's private. So that's kind of the setup to it. So because I had to park and walk, I'm running a little bit behind, and so are these other people here as well. You'll hear one of them say they had to do a runaround. That's basically what it was, a runaround to get to this event. But anyway, so when we get in there, they say right away that they're at capacity, and then the ACLU lady says they're at capacity, and then she says we're almost at capacity and stuff like that. And so that's kind of where this will just pick up at here, I suppose.
So is this the same ACLU that defends people for civil rights and files lawsuits? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and hey, thanks for pointing that out. So this event was partnership with Planned Parenthood, an anti-ICE organization, and an anti-Doge organization, and some form of education organization as well. And I forgot to mention, and importantly, is that I'm walking in there with messages of my own. I have one side of a piece of the message says, liberals love big balls, with big balls in quotes. And then the other side says, abortion is child murder, clear as day. And so you'll see what happens with that in the video here.
Okay. Let's play it.
Well, it's one thing real quick, something that the doc's missing here that's important to point out is the ACLU people inside there were encouraging people to vote against certain bills and vote for certain bills and to call their congressman. So, I mean, this was a space of that nature.
Yeah.
So,
yep. It was like a political town hall, which could be basically characterized as, just anti-Republican, anti-Trump. I mean, ACLU says it straight up there that Trump, the irony of it, they're saying that Trump is trying to trample on people's rights. Their advertisement for this town hall says, and meanwhile, outside the door, you got one of the ACLU ladies will be telling me that I can't, quote unquote, protest there with what she calls a sign. And it's like, well, hold on a second there, lady. You got fucking ACLU printed on your hat, and fucking ACLU printed on the tablecloths out in the hallway, same hallway I'm standing in, but we can get into that.
Hell yeah. So this is basically a Democratic event, and you guys showed up to see if they would uphold your rights and not violate your rights to have free speech and say the messages that you want to say. I get it.
Yeah, and this is just me here.
Yeah, I wasn't able to go to this one. I had to work, unfortunately.
That's right.
So
The one time, you know.
Absolutely. All right, we ready to play it?
Yeah.
Wow, we drove all the way out there.
I RSVP'd.
Can I just listen from the doorway?
You'll have to ask this woman right now.
I have an RSVP.
I'm sorry, but we are about to hit capacity.
No, you said.
So left versus right aside, because I try not to go into that left-right paragraph. I'm pretty much neutral, and I don't give my political beliefs on the internet. But whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, they should respect your right to free speech here. Yeah. Okay.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. This is a public space right here. This hallway here, you can see back there is signed like Tim Murphy. That's like the name of the gallery in this hallway here. That's like specifically dedicated for the public, access to. So regardless of what they want to say,
got you.
Outside of that, but yeah, you're absolutely right. This should be a respected thing that nobody's message is more important than the others, and no message is more allowed than another one. That's unequal.
And you can see just by this view right here in the hallway, they already have messages all over the walls, hanging on the walls. There's no difference in what's hanging on the wall than what's on your poster board. In my opinion, I mean, it's a sign, it's words, it's a message.
Yep, and even outside of that, you'll see here the ACLU has a couple of their tables sitting out in this hallway as well with their tablecloth with ACLU printed on it as well. And so if they want to, characterize me as having a sign, then what in the world do you call that?
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Okay, you're about to, but I have an RSVP.
Yes.
I know.
So you should have accounted for me as well.
Well, I'm sorry, but we're at capacity.
She already said that they're at capacity, but didn't you RSVP, if I remember right?
Yep, I RSVP'd.
You
I
reserved
signed
a seat, and they're already telling you can't come in. All right, make sure I had that right.
Yeah.
What's the
I
capacity?
said the capacity is where it's at.
What's the capacity? What's the number?
The capacity is whatever it is right now. In other words, if there's only 3 people in there, you guys aren't allowed in. That's what I got from that.
Yep, they'll end up saying 250.
Wow. I watched this yesterday, but this is coming back to me.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So they're already discriminating against you. They have their signs everywhere, and you're not even portraying your sign yet. You're just holding it, right? You're just walking with it.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a message, and I have it right here, I believe, just kind of tucked under my arm.
Yeah. All right. I got a bad habit about pausing too much. I apologize, y'all.
No, it's fine.
I have an RSVP though.
250.
This is what I don't understand. Is that I have
250.
okay, I heard the number. Can I please just tell you that I RSVP, so my number should count.
I'm sorry, you cannot enter. We are at capacity completely.
I RSVP.
I'm sorry.
That's the thing.
I'm sorry, but we're at capacity and you
But
cannot
that
go
doesn't
in.
make any sense.
It's
I-
a fire
I-
regulation.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I RSVP.
I'm sorry, but you
So
cannot go in, sir.
I'm counted towards that number.
Right.
But we are at
So-
capacity,
But
so you cannot go in.
so somebody that didn't RSVP is leaving, and I'm not allowed to go in. I
The same
RSVP.
thing happened to me.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. We're at capacity.
Well, then you
We've
need to,
already started.
you need to make, you need to make,
No,
you
we're
need
not
to
going to
explain
make
yourself.
anybody do anything, sir. You please have to leave.
Well, I'm gonna leave. What are you talking about?
Pause it right there for a second.
Well,
Harvey,
I
can you
don't have
pause
to
it right
leave.
there?
What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, but we're at capacity.
Okay, but I'm
and
not.
Hey, Harvey, can you pause it?
you can stand here, but you can't go in.
We'll have.
So right there, that lady right there, she works for the ACLU, and so she has no authority to tell me to leave the building. So if she tells me to leave, she doesn't have the authority to do that, and neither does anybody else, even a government employee that was running the building. Because what under what authority? Me talking to someone, me freely associating in a public facility, talking is what a crime all of a sudden? What crime would that get me out of there on? So they can't just say you have to leave this public space because we don't want you here. That's not how it works. It's public. I have just as much right to be there as they do. I have just as much right to go in there and speak and stand there and look at the art. And
Well, the question we asked, why aren't they telling those other ladies there that they have to leave the building?
yeah, and they're not telling them to leave the building, and they're only set up shop to keep me out. There's two other doors to this town hall meeting room there. Two other doors. And they're devoting all their resources just to stopping me from what have I even done? I mean, I'm right at this point, I'm still, 8 feet away from the door right there, So what exactly is the issue here?
Did they have prior knowledge of you before this event? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, I have no idea if they did or not. But I mean, like I said, I had been in contact with the coordinator. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I had emailed her and they, knew that I was going to be, because I had RSVP that I was going to be going. Outside of whatever they knew anything about me, I have no idea.
And were they able to read your sign yet at this point, or did you have it rolled up or what?
Well, it's not rolled up. It's it's cardboard, so it's not rolled up. It's just kind of under my arm as I'm walking with it, and it's two-sided, one message on each side, and they're stapled together. It's one message on two sides there.
Gotcha.
But once I kind of get to the bottom, them saying they're at capacity is like, okay, I'm not going to fight that. I just at this point I'm like, there's nothing I can fight on that. If they're at capacity, they're at capacity. That's the way it is. I'm just curious, like why? What was the point of the RSVP? I mean, if you're going to have somebody RSVP, it seems like that would hold your spot. And they try to tell me that everybody checked in and everything. I was like, oh, okay, so if everybody checked in, and you should have 249 people in there because I'm out here. I haven't checked in yet, so I should be 250. And outside of being able to explain that to me, that was kind of the end of it. I was like, all right, fine. And so I went and I said, all right, I'm just going to stand here. And so I stood across from where she's at. You'll see her in a minute. I go stand across from there. And and then at that point, the message comes out from underneath my arm. And that's when she springs into action to bring another ACLU worker over there. And he starts taking pictures of me, and they're texting somebody or calling somebody. And then they go and I don't know, they go and they talk to the director of the community center. So
Keep going.
yeah.
We're going to have to call the police because we're at capacity, and that is a fire hazard.
How do you know you're at capacity?
Because we've counted every single person because they checked in.
Man, I know I just hit play, but that was, man, she escalated fast, man. It went from we're at capacity to we're calling the police.
Oh, well, I had asked her, I said, what would happen if I did go in there? I think that kind of got the pause
okay.
there. And so she said, we'd call the police.
Got you, man. All right.
Oh, so some, okay.
No, I'm just, 'cause to me, I want to go home because I'm not going to hang out. I just want, like I said, I spend a lot of time to get here.
Yeah.
To run around.
Yeah, for sure. I understand.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, so just a few call to actions here, so just calling your legislature, telling them to oppose the bill.
See, this lady here actually seems more upset than anybody, and she's not even upset. Exactly,
So scan the
she's
QR
upset,
code, you can
but
find
not,
more information about that, and then, as always, if you
you know,
want to learn
expressing
more,
it.
reach out and one of us are
Okay.
more than happy. So
All right. Yeah, no, because I'm also a monthly donor, so that's why I'm kind of really involved.
yeah, for sure.
Hey, man, I don't understand. I RSVP'd for this. I don't understand. She said that you guys counted everybody that went in there because they all checked in. And so I haven't checked in. So in theory, you should have 249 people in there because I'm on the list, I RSVP. So that means there's people in there that didn't RSVP. And meanwhile, I did. And I can't go in?
Right. So how we did the check-in process, that would be correct.
What would be correct about that?
That's just, so yes, people walked in. Yes, some people got in around us. That is unfortunate. But as always, one of us organizers are always happy to meet with you one-on-one to go over the meeting. You can take those sheets of paper if you want more information.
Well, so what really was the point of the RSVP then, I guess, is what I'm asking. I mean, you guys switched locations because you knew there was going to be a large enough crowd, so the RSVP should have meant
Actually,
something.
that's not true. We switched locations because the previous location was not confirmed. This was confirmed, so that is why we switched locations.
Yeah, I don't appreciate you saying it wasn't true. I got an email from, what's the coordinator of this event here at the ACLU? Her name is Imege or something like that, and she said it was because of capacity. So what you just said there, you said what I said was not true, but that's what the coordinator of this told me.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
if there's a complaint that you have, you're more than welcome to reply to that email and she'll get back to you.
I'm looking for an answer on what was the point of the RSVP.
Again, the email, you can email her and ask that. She is someone with the information that I do not have.
Who are you
I
then?
cannot answer that.
Who are you then?
You can find my information on the website.
What's your name?
My name's Evan.
Evan?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your title?
Voting rights organizer.
Oh, voting rights organizer. Okay.
That guy seems about as fake as you can be. ACLU just don't seem very welcoming at all.
No,
They seem to not really care that all these people RSVP'd and showed up there and were turned away. They really just had no genuine response to their coming over to do that. A lot of these people were saying like they're donors to the ACLU and stuff. It's like, yeah, that's how they fucking treat you.
It doesn't seem like they're being very inclusive here.
Yeah,
that's what I noticed, and I thought that, like I said, I don't do the left or the right, but I thought the left was all about inclusiveness, and you guys said this was mainly a left event, but it doesn't look like they're being inclusive.
It'll get worse here.
Say it again.
I was talking to her.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of passive aggressive. Oh, okay. Thank you.
They may allow you to do it too.
Okay. Appreciate that. You signed up with him right there?
I support ACLU financially.
Oh, there you go.
And I RSVP, but I'm not able to.
Well, that's how they treat you. Yeah, they treat you. So you signed up where? Right here? Okay, thank you.
Our first location, we're trying to keep up with ours.
So it's a public area right there, and like I mentioned earlier with the ACLU, that's a good place to stop right there. So you got the ACLU table right there with the tablecloth on it, advertising ACLU. So why couldn't another message be in there as well? Why do they only get to set up shop outside there. I mean, they don't get a special kind of privilege, and conversely, somebody else doesn't get less of that same privilege. And it's not a privilege, it's a freedom. We all have the freedom to do that. It's a public place right there. And they might have rented that room, like we covered. It's still a public room, or still a public meeting. But this area right here on screen is all public right there. So, I mean, they don't have a monopoly on that. And the government can't say, okay, only ACLU signage in here right now. They can't say that. And no abortion signage definitely can't have that. And that's what that boils down to there. So that's a constitutionally protected activity. That's what makes the arrest unlawful, is because what I'm doing is no different than what ACLU is doing right there.
I agree 100%. Why do they have the monopoly on the booth and passing out their material, but nobody else can? Yeah,
right. Exactly.
It is very, very, very much viewpoint discrimination. That's a word that I learned watching your channel, and I've been using it a lot lately. That is viewpoint discrimination.
Yep. Good. Yep. I'm glad to hear that. Yes, that's right. It's viewpoint discrimination, and it's also unequal protection as well.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this, because I've noticed on your channel that I've seen you've been arrested a few times, and you've filed several lawsuits. Do you have any lawsuits still going? How many lawsuits have you won? I should have kept playing the video and asked this at the end, but
that's a good place to answer that. So they're all still ongoing right now. There's 4 of them right now. I haven't won any lawsuits. All of them got filed right around the same time. The first one, it started out as 3, but the first one I sued the city of Lawrence, Kansas, for, like we just talked about there, viewpoint discrimination, unequal protection while speaking during general public comment at the city commission meetings on 2 separate occasions. And within that lawsuit, also sued the Lawrence Public Library as well for 2 separate events that happened, where similar to what's happening here at this event here we're watching on the screen here. It happened at the library, and there was an event that took place that was open to the public, and they prevented me from coming in there. I had a message as well that day. I had a message on my sign that day that the event was a trans event. It was a gender identification marker event. So this was gender ID, like for changing your IDs and stuff like that, because this was back in May of 2023, and there was some legislation here in Kansas possibly going into effect. And so this group held this public event here at the library, and I went in there with a message that said, if you're born with a dick, then you're not a chick, and was told and prevented and threatened with trespass from the police to be removed from the meeting. And so and then the following month, there was a rainbow reading group there where a man dressed up as a woman would read books to there's the public, but it's a group of children and their guardians or parents, you call them, and went in there with just a message, one that said, this is wrong, and the other one said, stop grooming kids, and again was told that I couldn't be in there, prevented access in there. So that was a long way of saying that's the first lawsuit. That was a city lawsuit, but that separated into 2. The city became its own, and the library became its own. So there was 2. And I filed that in November of 23, and then the following month I sued the school district in Lawrence, USD 497, for again viewpoint discrimination, retaliation, unequal protection, for speaking at their during their school board meetings during general public comment, where on multiple occasions I was muted and removed from the meeting. I had to speak online, but I was muted and removed from the speaking when other people spoke on the exact same topics, but in a favorable, quote unquote, favorable light. I didn't even get a chance to even present why. So, like, for example, I mentioned I start off by saying the superintendent makes, his salary is like $230,000, and they stopped me right away and said, you're not allowed to talk about staff. If you have a complaint, we got to do that in private. And I'm like, how do you even know that's a complaint? I mean, you didn't give me a chance to finish what I was saying. I mean, I could have been saying he's having he needs a fucking raise. I mean, how do you get to interrupt and interpret what I'm about to say and construe it? And meanwhile, 3 speakers before me said that the superintendent was sent by God. And it's like, geez, that was allowed. So there was those discrepancies on how I was treated and other people compared to other speakers that spoke on the exact same topic. So that was the second lawsuit. And then the next month, then in January of 2024, I filed a lawsuit against the county commission, the Douglas County Commission, and the Douglas County Sheriff for an unlawful arrest on April 11th of 2022 at the Douglas County Commission meeting, again, because I had a message. I walked in there with a message that they didn't want in there. And so they unlawfully arrested me. And that was part of that lawsuit. And then the next month was removed again while speaking, just for cussing at them. I mean, they straight up say you're not allowed to cuss, so you're out of here. And it's like, geez, is this America or what? And then and then the following year, and then 2 years later in 2020, so I filed that lawsuit. And then the spring of last year, there was even more incidents of them muting me and stopping me from speaking. And then they unlawfully arrested me again on May 1st of 2024 at the meeting for standing there with a message again that they just didn't like. And they arrested me and charged me. The first arrest was quote unquote disorderly conduct. And then the second one was disrupting a public meeting or a public proceeding or something like that, 215922. I forget exactly which one they said it was, but either way, charges didn't stick. And that's all part of that 4th lawsuit. So I have a really long way of saying that's 4. So it's 1 against the city of Lawrence, 1 against Lawrence Public Library, 1 against the USD 497 school district, 1 against the Douglas County Commission that includes the Douglas County Sheriff for a couple of unlawful arrests. And there's actually a ruling that came down just the other day. I just released a video on it yesterday that talks about how the sheriff and the deputy who unlawfully arrested me on April 22nd, 2022, lost their qualified immunity. And then the lieutenant and the deputy who arrested me on May 1st also lost their qualified immunity on that. So that ruling came down. So that was really good to hear on that.
What about you, Michael? How many times have you been arrested? And I noticed that several times when you two were together, it seems like they always arrest Dr. Speeds.
Yeah, they tend to go after him first.
Yes.
In the meetings. I've had some trespassing protests that I've been arrested at. Well, not really arrested, but cited. It's basically a detention and a citation. I got arrested for interference near my home over here, and there was some shooting that happened on a street over here, and I went over to do some filming and check it out. And that one's I'm still in the criminal phases of that one. There is a lawsuit filed on that one as well. I filed a lawsuit on the criminal trespassing things, but that one did actually end up getting dismissed. Failure to state a claim is what they had. The bad thing about that one is it got dismissed with prejudice, so I don't even have an option of bringing it back up. And then I've got a current civil case filed in Elk County against Jill Gillette, the county prosecutor down there, who came after me with basically a bullshit protection order. And she filed. She listed 9, but she had repeated numbers, so she had a total of 11 different counts on this PFS, and she lost every single one of them. And it's very rare that there's an avenue for a respondent on an order like that to be able to seek recourse, but she did it in such a heinous way that it kind of opened that door for us, I think.
Oh yeah, cool.
Hey,
all right,
and also, hey, real quick, just want to say, so all of those lawsuits that I just mentioned, those 4 that I have filed, they're all ongoing right now. They're all at different phases, different stages, but all moving in the same direction.
Are you doing those pro se, or do you have a lawyer, or what?
Nope, I have an attorney. His name's Linus Baker, and he's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, he's a fantastic attorney, and he's a unicorn.
You know, if you guys want to hear Linus argue, you can go listen to the Jill Gillette PFS hearing at my page, and you can hear him argue in there. And he does a great job when he's in court. He just knows how to handle that room.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's get back to this video. I kind of derailed us there for a minute. Sorry about that, but that was interesting to hear what you had to say. So
yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, so back on the video, then I just go over, and this is where I just go to stand there, and that's where I display my message at this point.
all right.
All right, so I can't go in. So I'm going to stand right here.
I know. I'm sorry.
One of us organizers are always happy to get this video.
So this is a constitutionally protected activity that I'm doing right there, and they clearly, the ACLU employees right there are taking issue with it. They're in contact with somebody there. I don't know. Can you hear me while I'm talking?
Man.
Huh?
They're freaking out, man. They're having a meltdown. You can tell.
Yep. They don't want me. They don't want me in there. They don't want me with the message. And again, like I said, they have no control over that public space. And then on top of that, even the director, like I said, engaged in a constitutionally protected activity, especially if they're going to look the other way on the ACLU having their sign out there.
Yeah, first they wanted to keep you out of the event, and then they did that, but now they're trying to kick you out of the hallway as well.
Well, you know, up till this point, it kind of, you know, their capacity thing that they said, I'm like, all right, you know, whatever. Okay, it's that capacity. They told me that if I go in there, I'd be one person over capacity and have to shut the whole meeting down. I'm like, well, that's not why I'm here. I'm not doing that shit. So there's no reason to do that. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go stand over here in this public hallway then. I mean, and it doesn't become an issue again with the room until they start letting people into the room. And I'm like, what the fuck? You just told me I can't go into the room, but yet you're allowing these people to go in there. It's that not treating each of the people equally. They're letting some of them in over capacity while keeping one person out over capacity at that point.
Yeah.
So not a lot here happens spoken wise. But what's going on here, you can let it play. If you can hear me talking over it, it's fine, because nothing really gets said for the next minute or so, or a couple minutes. But he's taking pictures of me standing there, and I tell him make sure to get both sides. I told him the other side, and he said, don't worry, I got it already, or something. And she goes off to talk to someone off camera, police perhaps. And while that's happening, I notice down the hallway there is the entrance there to the lobby, the main lobby. And I seen some people
one too.
Walking into the building and
this one too.
Oh, don't worry.
check in with the counter there with the ACLU rep there, whoever it is, and then proceed to walk over to that door and walk right in. And I'm like, well, hold on a second. What the fuck? Why are they gonna go in there? Like 3 of them. And as I walk over there filming it, not only did those 3 that walked up get to go in there, there was a lady who's leaning in there in that hallway, that little nook into the entryway there, leaning on the wall, looking in, watching. And when those 3 go in with the door open, she's like, this is my chance. I might as well go too. And so she gets in there as well. And so you get 4 of them in there. All of them over capacity, according to them, all of them late, all of them given preference over someone that they've turned away that already has the RSVP, that they have such an issue with. They've called the fucking police on me already. I mean, what have I even done? Talked to them a couple of times. and I've stood there with my message. That ain't a crime.
Yeah, if they didn't like what was on your sign, and I know a lot of people probably won't like that, but they could have just ignored it and went about their day. But for them to let it trigger them and cause all this commotion and get you arrested, it's like if you're walking in the yard and you see a pile of dog shit, you walk around it, okay? But these people step right in it, man.
The reason why
that's the way I see it.
Well, the reason why they get so triggered is because it's the truth, and the truth triggers them. So that sign, for example, that says abortion is child murder, clear as day, it's truth, and that triggers them. They don't like to see that. They'd rather bury their head in the sand and pretend that it's not really what it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That guy there that's taking pictures, he won't identify himself as an ACLU employee, but he is like their media and communications director. Jesse, I think. So he's an ACLU employee. One other thing about signs inside the meeting room, they're going.
There's your ladies going in.
Hey.
I'm like, what the fuck? So those three just walk up, and you got the one lady, she's leaning on the wall. That's her. She's gonna be like, oh, I might as well. Oh, yep. And she gets it.
Why did they get it going?
And he's got to come stop me.
Who are you?
I ask myself that every day.
What are you stopping me from doing there then?
I don't think I'm stopping anything.
Really? Well, then let me go around you. They just got to go in there.
Dude, I'm a dipshit with a camera. I don't make rules. I don't do anything.
Then what are you doing then? Why are you blocking my way? You know, that's a crime to block my way in a public building. You
It's
just,
not.
it sure is.
And you're also
21,
not allowed to protest here.
21, 59, 22. Who's protesting?
You are with that sign.
What sign?
The sign that you're holding in your hand.
What's your stocking cap say?
It says the ACLU.
Does it? Okay. So my message, is that what you're referring to?
I don't care what your message is.
Really? So why are you saying I'm protesting? Why are
I'm
you
not
saying
going to
this
argue
is
with
a
you,
sign?
dude. You're not going to.
There was 4 or 5 people that just went in there. When you told me that if I went in there, one more person,
Police are here.
that it
Feel free to involve them.
that it would shut
Hey,
down
Evan,
the entire meeting.
can you get the officers that are down here, please?
No, what in the world does she need to get the police officers for?
And what are you getting the officers for?
You have crime to stand there and talk
Have
to
I
someone
done
in
something
public?
wrong?
My feelings.
Have I done something wrong?
This is a crime
Then you need to
to
get
talk
the
to
police.
another citizen there. It's a crime.
Aren't you ACLU liberals defund the police a-holes?
These guys are already gloving up. He's putting his gloves on, man. The next cop walks up. He's putting his gloves on.
Telling you, we need to do what Freeman does. Anytime we see a cop, start putting our rubber gloves on.
You got a badge number?
Yep.
Yeah, 9312.
Appreciate it.
What's that?
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I do go up to this next cop to report a crime that is a crime that the statute I cite is 215922. It's interfering with public business in a public building. And I lay out the case to this officer here, and he just ain't hearing it. He ain't even taking it fucking serious. Completely dismissed. They'd already made their minds up.
Look at all the signs they have set up on tripods.
Yep. And then back there, right on his, to the left of him.
So
It's gonna be a
officer,
good law.
first of all, what's your
Oh,
name?
dude, they're holding up signs inside the room at the ACLU event.
Who are you with?
Marion Police Department,
Do you have a badge number?
3728.
3728. So officer. So I don't know why you're
Very
over
obvious, only because of what is on the sign, and
Since
that's a
you're over
violation.
here, I would like to report that they're preventing me from going into this meeting.
This is their event. They're at capacity, which is the first part of it. And
Well, if you would
second-
let me explain what I was going to
I
say.
understand. So
No, you
I'm
don't,
just-
because I'm trying to explain it to you.
I
I'm going to try to
understand.
explain.
Can I say two
No,
words?
because I'm in the process of reporting what is called a crime. It's called 215922. They're interfering with my public business by preventing me from going in there. And the reason why is because when I first came here, they said that if I went in there, it would be one person over capacity and they'd have to shut the entire meeting down. I stood right over there and watched this. 4 more people went into the room. That came in after me and went in there, no problem. And I walked over here to go in there because clearly the capacity thing and what you were just saying there, because you're just parroting what they were telling you about capacity, isn't true. And so since it's not true, I have RSVP to this meeting. And if they're going to allow people in over capacity like they just did, but then prevent me, they are interfering with my public business, and that's a crime.
So I'm just, law enforcement's just third party. We get information from both sides. So
Yeah.
like I said, our supervisor will be here in a second to address you with what he finds out and things like that, and then we'll move on from there. As of right now, we're just going to stay here and wait until he addresses us. Is that all right?
Well, I'm saying I'm reporting a crime.
I understand. Once my supervisor gets over here, we'll address that.
No, we won't.
No, doesn't address it at all.
And see, looking back on this, man, it was pointless to try to tell him anything because they had already decided what they were going to do.
Yep. That cop is aware that I'm recording. He doesn't even bother to ask, you got footage. He doesn't investigate anything. He doesn't.
These cops are familiar with y'all, correct? Because this
No.
is y'all down, right?
Not here. This is Merriam, Kansas.
Okay.
This is up in the Kansas City metro area. We live. I'm about 30 miles away from it, and he lives south metro. But man, I'm telling you, they don't know him. I don't think they know him. I think it's just the message that he brings into that room. They can't have it there because it hurts their feelings.
And where you guys live, y'all have the cops pretty well trained. They don't mess with y'all anymore because y'all didn't suit them so many times. So yeah,
Well,
that makes sense.
We'll
y'all
see.
triggered it with these signs, man. They got triggered, no doubt. About
Yeah, and they don't bother to get anybody's side but their side, which is the ACLU and the community center, which is the government. So you got the ACLU and the government talking to get me out of there.
Yeah.
And the police only get that side of it, and that's all they needed. Even with me trying to explain part of it to that one cop there, he's just, nope, not happening. Not hearing any of it. Matter of fact, don't even want to see if you have any video of any of this to prove or disprove.
They not once.
They
not
try to say
one question to Justin about any of this. Not one question. Hey, did this happen? Did this happen? Did you? No, they had already figured out what had happened from the people there, and nothing that he said was going to make any difference in that.
Yeah.
They said that I tried to force my way in there multiple times. Like, oh, really? I tried to force my way in there. At what point did I force my way? The closest I came to the door was when I was standing there talking to those guys, and I was 2 feet away from the door with somebody in between me at all times. I didn't force my way past anything.
I can't wait to see their body cameras of what they said on the body camera. That's going to be good. Hell yeah.
So nothing happens here for the next minute or so, or 30 seconds or so. I just kind of walk away, and I'm kind of narrating in the camera. I'm saying, like, this is going to be interesting. I wonder what they're going to try and say, because I ain't got nothing to know here
right now. This is going to be interesting because I haven't done anything wrong, so it's going to be interesting what they're going to try and say here.
You got somebody standing there right there watching, no different. They had to rush over there and block me, but that lady gets to just stand there. no problem at all. And that lady's aware of it. Nope, go ahead, you're fine, lady. Stand there all you want. Just that guy. That guy we don't want over here. Matter of fact, I go over here because they have the door open. I'm like, just can I even listen to what's being said in there? And they immediately stop me.
That's fine. I'm not going to go in there. I'm not going to go in there.
Okay.
I'm just going to stand right here.
Yeah, but I need to keep people out of this area so that there's egress if there's a fire.
Oh, if it's a fire. Oh, okay.
They got all kinds of reasons for the stuff that they do. None of them make sense.
Because you got
no, it's all over the place.
There. I don't understand.
So they allow that lady over there.
You got somebody. Look, you got somebody standing right there. Man, I tell you what. Man, see, look at this. That
So they got to keep it clear for fire at that door. They got to keep it clear for this one as well.
Look at that. Somebody's standing right there. No problem.
Clearly only preventing me from
problem.
going in there. Dang.
Egress. Hey.
Darren,
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Don't say anything. Are you recording?
Yeah.
Don't say anything.
Okay. Is this the ACLU thing?
These cops say, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Okay? Don't say anything. To the cops.
Okay.
To the cops.
Did they say anything to you?
So right now there's like 5 or 6 cops there.
I got here and
there's 5 cop cars up front for
they
this.
said that they're at capacity.
they're conspiring.
So as
I was the
tried to
calmest
just walk
motherfucker in that
into
entire
the
building, and they're all there for me.
they
Isn't that
saw
amazing?
it and they said, if you go in there, we'd be
It's the dreads, man.
we have to shut the entire building down. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. So, but I RSVP'd, and then there's this, they're like, well, the people that are in there signed up. I'm like, oh, okay, they signed up. So I came over here to this sign up area right here and talked to this guy who's no longer standing here. I was like, what's the point of the RSVP? And anyways, if you're at capacity, you have people in there that didn't RSVP, and I did RSVP. Well, what's going on? Anyways, so I just went and I just stood right here with my sign or my message here. And that guy right there started taking pictures. And while I was standing there,
The cops are standing over there talking.
3 or 4 or 5 people go.
And the sergeant, Simmons, he's going to come over leading them, and he's going to ask me to move over to the front and talk. I say, no, I'm right. Then he tells me the place wants to trespass, and well, that's fucking news to me. I'd never even talked to anybody from the building. Nobody told me to leave. Not that they could.
Here they come. Hey, I just Googled this while we were here. The ACLU of Kansas is the state affiliate of the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, a nonprofit organization dedicated to defending and promoting civil liberties and constitutional rights. And they're going to stomp all over yours right here.
Well, the irony of it. Yeah.
This is not good for them, man.
And they enlist the police to remove me from that public space for absolutely no reason. And that's what's
The
unlawful about it.
ACLU.
Their main focus is First Amendment and free speech, it says right here.
Isn't that something?
Wow, man.
It's called irony. And yeah. And
But the
also,
First Amendment and free speech only counts for the speech that they want to hear.
For their side. For their side. And one other thing before this cop shows up, Michael had mentioned just a minute ago, but
they're going to settle with you fast on this. They're going to want this to go away.
Inside the building or inside the meeting room there during the meeting, so there's a newspaper article that's written on it, and it includes the arrest as well. But they've taken pictures from inside the meeting room, and you see people in the audience sitting there holding their ACLU signs, and so. Again, that's where it becomes an issue. So, like when the government opens up, a public space, they can't then say only one viewpoint or all viewpoints but one viewpoint. They can't exclude any viewpoints. Then at that point, if they're going to allow one, they got to allow them.
Yeah. All right, let's see what these pigs do.
I'm Sergeant Simmons with the Marion, Kansas Police Department. Would you mind going over and talking with me over at the front doors?
I'm fine right here.
Well, staff has requested you be trespassed from the building.
For what?
Because you were causing a ruckus.
Causing a ruckus?
Yep, and it's a private. Listen to me for a
is that?
second, please. It is a private business. They have the right to trespass anyone that they see fit, and they don't have to give a reason.
You're
Okay?
telling me this city community center is a private business?
It is a private business. You have to pay to come into this place.
Oh, really?
Yes, you do.
So that makes it a private business? This is a city public building. What are you talking about?
You are being trespassed from the business.
What'll happen if I don't leave?
You're going to be arrested.
For what?
For trespassing, sir.
What crime have I broken to be trespassed from this
If
public
I
building?
tell you that you are trespassed as a representative of the building, and then you do not fault, you asked me a question, so let me finish. If I tell you that you are trespassed at the request of the business and you refuse to leave, then it is criminal trespassing in the state of Kansas, and that is an arrestable offense. So here's my solution for you, okay? Because I want to give you options. Good police officer gives people
How about you
options.
ask me
There's
what
a
happened?
protesting spot out on a sidewalk
I'm not
outside of the
protesting.
building.
Yeah, he didn't even ask you your side of the story. And wait, this is public property. Am I missing something? Is this public property?
Yeah, it's public property. I mean, all of that. So again,
This is the Miriam Community Center,
Yeah,
man.
I knew that. I was just making sure because he said if they ask you to leave, you got to leave, and that's the way it is on private property, but not public property.
Right, and that's
Okay.
I'm glad you pointed that out. So I wanted to mention that too. So the distinction between public and private is huge. So like you in a private establishment, yeah, you can be trespassed for no reason. You can go in there. They don't want you in there. You can't be in there. Can't do that in the public because it would be the government would be the one that's doing that, and they're not allowed to do that. So that's where it gets into trampling on your rights. So he's wrong right there. This is not a private business.
Yeah.
And I'm explaining it to him. This is a city public building, and in fact, like we mentioned, that hallway is a public art gallery, free of charge to the public. And so for him to say that this is a private business and therefore they can trespass you and that is the crime in itself is overlooking the fact that I'm engaged in a constitutionally protected activity in a public space. And there are also others that are engaged in the same constitutionally protected activity. They're getting away with it while I'm not. And he's trying to say that this is a private establishment and therefore I can be trespassed for it.
Well, he's straight up lying to you too, because we saw all kinds of people walking in there. He's asserting that you have to pay money to get in there. None of these people that are walking through that door are making a cash transaction or paying anything to get in there.
No. No. And because that specific area is open to the public. And they try to say that, well, because I was I'd gone there to look, or I'd gone there to the meeting, and since the meeting was at capacity, I then therefore had to leave the building, and because I didn't, then trespass. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. You know, I can still just hang out in the fucking public fucking art gallery if I'd like to. You know, thank you very much. I mean, this is a public building. Just because I came for one thing, you know, would I only get one? I'm the one guy that just gets one chance at one thing in here, and if I don't get it, then I gotta fucking leave. You gotta be kidding me! It's a public building. What the fuck are you talking about? I mean,
They lied. They lied and said you were causing a ruckus, and you weren't
causing a ruckus. And he wouldn't even let me ask him what that even meant. He completely just shuts me down right away. It's like, hey, let me talk. And so it never once at all gets anything from me on my side of it at all.
All right,
I bet the next time he gets called to trespass somebody from the community center, he's a little less bullheaded after this lawsuit.
Well,
yeah, they got to learn the hard way. That's the only way these cops learn, because they don't teach them shit in the academy, and they don't teach them nothing while they're a police officer. That's the only way they learn.
When they're huddling,
learn after that. Some of the times.
Sorry, when those cops were huddling before they came over, the one cop that I had tried to report the 215922 violation to, or crime to, he tells that to Simmons there. He tells it to him, and so that was like and Simmons immediately goes, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. And so that was like the only bit of information that was ever fed to this guy, and it was all under the, he also calls me an auditor. So he's already labeling me as something there. And that I was in there recording and that I was an auditor, and I had tried to, I was citing statute about a 215922, and Sim was like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, dang, geez, shot down, huh? Look at that investigation.
I'm surprised he didn't call you one of those sovereign citizens. That's what they like to say.
Oh, he was just, he did tell him he was being a jerk.
Yep, call me a jerk.
Because you won't obey what they're saying and leave.
Right.
All right, let's see him. They're fitting to go hands. Well, he doesn't have his gloves on. The other cop's gloved up, but he didn't. Huh?
Yeah, the other two are gloved up. They're both right there. They're waiting. There's 5 cops around me right now.
Unbelievable. And you're there all by yourself, right?
I'm there by myself, and I've had a concerned citizen come walking up and is filming as well. So that's the 2 camera angles right there.
Good. All right, let's keep watching.
Well, you've got a sign right here.
I'm going to sign us a message.
Okay. I am giving you the opportunity
You'll
to
be
leave
violating
on
my
your
First
own.
Amendment right.
No,
This
I
is
won't,
a,
sir.
Yes, you will.
No,
This
I
is
won't.
a public building. Yes.
Are you going to
this
leave
is
the
a public
business?
building. I've not broken
Are
law.
you willing to leave the business,
I
sir?
asked you what law I had broken.
Criminal trespassing.
No.
At this
Prior
point,
to
you are
that, and you said
trespassed.
caused a
Are
ruckus.
you going to leave this building, sir?
For what?
For trespassing.
Based on what crime have I committed?
You are committing it right now. I've told
This
you
is
you're
a
a trespass. You need to leave.
There has to be an underlying charge for that. Otherwise,
Sir?
you're going to be violating my First Amendment
No,
rights
I
right
won't
now.
be.
Yes, you
No,
will.
I won't be.
Because you're removing me
Are
because
you
of
going
what
to
you
leave this
consider my
building,
sign
sir?
right here in protesting.
Are you going to leave this
That
building,
you would
sir?
find yourself in a First Amendment lawsuit.
Okay, put your
Faster
hands
than-
behind your back, sir.
Boy, he heard the word lawsuit. Cuffs have to go on now.
Don't stop. Take my phone. Take my phone.
Yep.
That's all that was. That's all that was. You were under arrest for criminal trespass.
And so it's so funny that
We're recording everything. Of course you can record.
they just right there say she can keep recording. It's like, hey, I thought it was a private business, guys. Now you're giving her permission to record in there. You can only have that permission if it's public, right, guys?
Let's take him away from the front doors of this.
You're giving her permission to record in a private business.
Well, and we've come and made a scene, and now we got to quickly get you away from the doors so nobody can see what we've done.
Yep. Hey, Harvey, can you pause it for 1 second? I want to point something
That was
out.
their whole game plan to begin with, was to get you out of there.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. To the point where they didn't even get my half of the story.
They didn't even get a quarter of your story. They didn't
Yeah,
even
none
ask
of it.
for it.
Yeah. So when the cop was standing there saying that that I was protesting and that I had a sign and that the protesting stuff is designated outside on the sidewalk. So something labeled as protest, that's and not allowing that's viewpoint discrimination. So the essence of a protest is, the counter, the word that's in there already. So if the government's allowed that one word in there, then to restrict a protest, then you're restricting a viewpoint, which might be the opposite of that viewpoint that they've allowed in there. So that's you can't do that. Again, that's also unequal protection as well. So we all should enjoy that same equal protection. If we can if one person can have their message, then we all can. I mean, it's America.
Oh yeah. I muted it so you could keep talking, but
Which jail? Which
So
jail are
they
you taking him to?
they get me all searched and everything, and Simmons comes back around and he says, if you're local, then we'll cite you, we'll get your information, we'll cite you, and we'll release you. But if you're not local, then we'll take you down to the jail and book you. And I was like, well, define local. And so he defined it, and I was like, I was local. So I got, they take me out because what happens here is he is trying to talk to the concerned citizen filming there, and I say, don't talk to the cop. And so the cop's like, well, it is what it is. you know, I asked you to leave, you didn't leave. And I said, well, she doesn't have anything to do with it. And he goes, well, then she can leave too. And I said, no, she cannot. She has every right to be here too. And he's like, no, she doesn't. I'm like, why would she have to leave? I mean, it's the same principle. Like all of a sudden, what, she's got to leave as well? What? Why? Again, going back to everything we just talked about, it's a public place, a public building, a public hallway, that you have to do something wrong. You have to commit a crime to be out of there. You can't just be walking through there and some government employees like, okay, time for you to go, see ya. You know, that's not how it works. It's public.
So they charged you with trespassing, Dr. Spees?
Yep. So they charged me with trespassing. So because I'm having that argument with the cops, they take me out the back door there and put me in the fucking cop car. And so
that's all they charged you with?
Yep, trespass, criminal trespass.
They're gonna. I bet the prosecutor, I bet the DA up there just refuses to even push this, man.
If they were smart, that's what they would do, is dismiss it. Did they cite you a ticket and let you go, or what would they do? Did they make you bond out or what?
Nope, they cited me a ticket and let me go. So once they gave me the ticket, they got me out of the back of the car and took the handcuffs off me and let me go. And I had told that one cop sitting in the back of the car, I said, hey man, these handcuffs are tight as shit, man. I've been arrested a few times and know the difference on them. And they were tight. And he says, oh no, I checked them. They're one finger. And I said, oh man, I don't think you did, man. These things are tight as shit. And he's like, you want me to come check again? I said, yeah. So he gets out, comes back and checks, and he does my right cuff, and he's like, all right, one finger in there. And then he goes to do the left finger, and it doesn't go in. He's like, oh, this one's a little bit tight, so I'm going to loosen it. And so he loosens it, and I have him check it again. And so when they get me out of the back of the cop car and they take the cuffs off me, I got fucking marks all over my wrists, on my thumb. And so I have them, they take pictures of it because I'm reporting it. It goes in the report because I reported it as a medical, whatever they refer to it as. Yeah, an injury, however they refer to it.
So what are your plans from here? You beat the case. Are you going to file a lawsuit? Explain, Dr. Spees, because you're a lot smarter and better at this crap than I am.
Well, everything in there that we've talked about in terms of being viewpoint discrimination, unequal protection. This is also a Fourth Amendment violation, being seized unlawfully. All of that are violations of my constitutional rights. And that's what makes that them trying to trespass that much more egregious. It's not based on anything. That's why we say, like, it has to be based on a crime, whereas in a private business, it doesn't have to be based on a crime. It just gets you out of there. But here, you'd have to actually be doing something in violation of something, standing and doing constitutionally protected activity. So for the First Amendment, it darn near violates all of the elements of it. So you got free speech, assembly, redress. I'm filming it. I'm documenting it. So press,
freedom of press, protest. They violated all of them, man.
Practically all first, and like I said, fourth, and then the 14th, which would be the unequal protection clause, where again they have those allowing one message in there, but not allowing another message, and calling it protest as well. And not even listening to me. I'm saying I'm not protesting anything. These are just messages. What are you talking about? I mean, if I had it on my shirt, I mean, I at the time wearing my veteran hat. I mean, what's the difference there, guys? I mean, that's the Cohen v. California. I mean, it's on your shirt. I mean, what if it was tattooed on me? You're gonna fucking refuse me entry at all? I mean, what are you guys talking about here? It's a message.
Well, in this one event, there were so many different comparators for what they were saying that he was doing wrong. Because you had, he couldn't stand outside the door because that would be a fire hazard. Well, you got the lady standing there. He couldn't go in because they were at capacity. You got the 3 or 4 other people that went in. His message couldn't be there. You got other people's messages all over the place. I mean, there's so many direct comparators here that it's if you can't see the blatant discrimination here, you're blind.
Yeah.
And also not even bothering to get my side of the story on anything. Even though I had a camera, even though they acknowledged that I'm recording, they didn't be like, they weren't like, hey, you want to show us your footage or anything like that? What happened here, really? Nope. They were gloved on and ready to fucking go from the second they got in there, man.
Does the fact that they didn't even ask for your side of the story, is that start getting into 14th Amendment due process, or am I reaching on that one?
I would believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think you've got training. I mean, some training issues there, at least at a minimum, that need to be addressed. If police officers are making an arrest based off of what one person says,
yeah.
I mean, let's at least talk to the other parties involved and find out a little bit more about what happens. And here you had somebody that had video of everything that occurred.
I feel like those officers knew that you weren't breaking the law, but these officers are order followers, and anytime their higher ups tell them to do something, they just do it, man. Whether they're violating their oath or not, that's what happens.
Well,
I get that feeling, because the fact that they took the they cared enough to loosen your cuffs, they wrote you a citation. They really could have made it a lot harder on you. These officers could have, but that's what makes me think that they realized that they knew they were wrong, but they were just following orders. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's the we versus them mentality. So it's like they're on that side, so they're all on the same side. So what the difference is there in Lawrence right now is that the police normally were like that, where it was like, we're siding with the government no matter what. But they've been shown that you can't violate people's constitutional rights. They're not doing nothing wrong. You got to let them be. And so it's reshaping how it should be, and it should be constitutional rights as Americans versus everybody else that wants to infringe on them is what it should be.
And this is why qualified immunity needs to be pulled, because that's why those officers can so boldly act that way, is because as long as they can prove this, as long as they can say we had no knowledge, we were just doing what we were understood we were supposed to be doing, qualified immunity, I'm immune. So sorry that happened. And I had a cop here not too long ago say something, a phrase that I'm sure a lot of law enforcement officers are aware of, but they call it lawful but awful.
Yeah.
It may be lawful, but it's still an awful situation.
I agree with you, Michael. You get rid of that qualified immunity, and these cops will learn. I guarantee you that. Yeah.
Individual responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah. And if they keep violating people's rights, make them pay for their own insurance, they're way too protected, man. And they don't know their own jobs, man. It's embarrassing, man. I mean, I ask cops all the time just the most basic law questions on the side of the road. They don't know it. They don't care. And then they catch an attitude like, oh, well, if you're going to ask me a question like that, I'm just going to walk away. Like, dude, that's like saying if I ask a chef about cooking a steak, they're going to get mad at me and walk away. I mean, that's your profession, man. You should know it. It's embarrassing that they don't know their profession. Very embarrassing.
You should want to talk about it too. Like a chef would be like, all right, yeah, this is what I'm passionate about. I want to talk about it. Cops are like completely walled off because they don't fucking know, man.
I laid brick for 30 years. When people ask me questions about brick, I'll sit there and talk to you all day long. I'll have them so confused within 5 minutes, they won't want to ask me another question.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, closing thoughts, anybody? Because we're at an hour 12 here. What do you guys think? Anything to add here?
Well, yeah, just stand by on it. I'll be posting updates on this as it goes along and what happens next. So
yes, we're going to be looking for updates.
It'll be interesting.
Somebody put the dreaded rabble. I've really been enjoying watching both of y'all recently, man.
Thank you.
Let me add that in there. These guys are doing amazing First Amendment work. And one of my questions is, hold on, I didn't even get to my questions. What made you two start doing these First Amendment? I don't know the way to put it, but going out and standing with your signs, stress testing. What made y'all get into this? What made y'all start doing this? Where'd the passion come from to do what y'all are doing? That's my question.
Well, mine's easy. I'll just get mine out of the way. I had a bad arrest, really bad arrest, where I'd gotten beat up, bloodied, and was arrested for disorderly because I wasn't the calmest person on the scene when they got there. And that made me go heads up back at the cops. I started watching all you guys that were filming cops online. This is back in 2020. And when I saw what you guys were doing, got a camera out there, started doing it. I didn't start with a sign. I started with a camera in their face saying, you know, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. That's the trigger for everybody, a bad arrest. Go ahead, Dr. Spees. And look, to all the people that are watching, this man is a certified doctor. What's your doctorate in, Dr. Spees?
It's in lifespan human development.
Highly educated man, articulate, intelligent man.
Well, you know, it's like Bob Marley said, if I was educated, I'd be a damn fool. So who knows, really? But
yeah,
my stuff all started with COVID. So when people want to throw around that label of auditor, nothing could be further from the truth with me. I wasn't out recording stuff until just actually recently, and it was just out of necessity because I was always out in the public and shit was fucking happening. So I started a protest against the child mask mandates during COVID, and at that point in time also started speaking at all of the meetings. So if anybody wants to accuse of like clicks and views and shit like that, I don't really give a fuck. But I wasn't recording any of that shit. It's all recorded from whatever cameras were there with the wherever we were speaking at. But it wasn't until later out of necessity that I started recording because so much crazy shit was happening. And me and Michael, our paths crossed streams at the city commission meeting after they came back out of COVID, and it was like April of 22. They finally came back to in-person meetings, and at that first meeting, that's when Michael and I first spoke, and we don't agree on, especially then we didn't agree on a lot of our views. I'm on the right politically, and he'd be considered on the left. But
I didn't know that. Okay, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So what he saw happening to me, because like I said earlier, that in April of 2022, I got arrested at the county commission meeting, like I talked about earlier. And so he saw how I was being treated there, and he didn't like that. So that's when he started standing up as well. And so we started.
I had no fight with the county or the school board or any of that, but as all these places, they continually screw with him, and it's like, damn it, man, just let the guy speak.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? And it didn't matter what he was saying. He could be saying the sky's blue and the ocean's green, and they would have still shut him down. I
noticed that, man. They really like to discriminate against him. I've noticed that. There can be.
And I'm very thankful that Michael's and I's paths crossed. And so when we met, he had Lawrence Accountability already, and he recorded everything. And so he has helped me learn the importance of recording, and it all really paid off with that. Just when I went in and I had that interaction with Josh Seiden, who was a deputy DA there, that was like one of the very first times that I was recording. And the only reason why I was recording is because, like I said, all the crazy shit that happens, you just never know. They'll accuse you of something that you didn't do. So I was like, just basically CYA, cover your own ass.
You made Josh Seiden famous, man. He owes you.
Yeah. Well,
he has to travel 100 miles for work now.
But it wasn't a quote unquote audit or anything like that. It was a cover my ass in case they try to fucking say something, because they don't like me around there. So I could easily say that. And sure as shit, they were trying to get me trespassed out of there as well. So that really brought home the importance of recording everything, because that's such a crazy. Imagine if that hadn't been recorded and I was just explaining it to you. You'd be like, yeah, right, that didn't fucking happen. So you just never know, man. You just never fucking know. It's like
let's add another part of this that maybe we haven't really talked about. One of the officers that went in there that day in the district attorney's office to try to get the doc out of there was a guy by the name of Squire. At Troy Squire, and he was a major at Lawrence Police Department when I first started going heads up at him. And I'm pretty sure he had to quit the Lawrence Police Department for 2 years and go sell insurance, because I think they thought I was bringing a lawsuit, because I had him recorded excusing officers' obvious behavior. And he left the LPD as a major, went and sold insurance for a couple of years, and then now he's a deputy at the police department. But he obviously didn't learn anything about rights because he was in there trying to get the doc out of there with Sidon that day.
Well, it was the same situation that we just watched on TV there. They went in there with their minds made up that I was guilty and whoever the government person was right. And no matter what, that's what the outcome was going to be. There was going to be no investigation, no talking, no looking at anything else. They were mind made up.
Oh, yeah. I got one more question because just by us talking, we already went over the rest of the questions that I wrote down. But the one question that I haven't asked you guys yet is, why do y'all always release your videos late at night? And I know that's a weird question, but I'm dying to know. I know
that's because of him. That's his fault, not mine.
I noticed that you guys both release videos at like 10:30, 11, midnight. And so I'm just wondering why.
Doc told me he was getting better views if he released it later at night, that the views built better or something. And I tried it a couple times. It worked a little bit. I don't know. I think it's the content mostly, because that last one about the qualified immunity getting pulled, I think people really want to see that kind of activity happening because they really migrated to that video and checked it out.
All right. I was just wondering. Everybody, make sure you're subscribed to the dreaded Rebel Rouser, Dr. Spees, and Lawrence Accountability for updates. And we're going to end this because we're at 1 hour and 20 minutes. And we said we wanted to keep it about an hour. So I think we covered everything pretty well. Thank y'all for coming on, man. And like I said, I've really been enjoying watching y'all's channel lately, man. Y'all keep up the good work.
Yeah, Harvey, appreciate you, man, all day.
Good night, y'all.
All
See you later.